We're going to preview this matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants on today's show, and then we'll start taking your questions and your super chats as well. It's all brought to you by True Classic Tees, 25% off your order if you use the code CHAT at trueclassictees.com/chat. Their golf polos and the athletic wear, so comfortable. It's been a part of my wardrobe for a really long time. Make it a part of yours to look good with an extra pep in your step. Be a little bit swaggier this holiday season with True Classic today. So the stage is set for Sunday at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, for one of the games of the week, in my opinion, just because of the hostility that exists between Philadelphia and New York. The Birds go into this game 11-1, 6.5-point favorites. The New York Giants coming off a tie against the Washington Commanders at 7-4-1 with the over-under set at 45. I think this game could be a little bit low scoring. I do like the Eagles to win it by about 6 or 7 points. Either way, it's going to be a smash mouth, bleeding type of game between two divisional rivals who do not like each other at all and have such a wonderful history in this great rivalry in the National Football League. And because it's a huge game on Sunday and it's Giants Hate Week, I want everybody watching right now who's a true supporter of the Philadelphia Eagles to type FNY in the chat, because that is the motto this week. And also subscribe to the channel because we're having a sub battle between Eagles now and Giants now. Let's take down the Giants on the field as well as in the walls here at Chat Sports, and join us for our watch party on Sunday. Our coverage begins with our pregame show, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Update a look at the NFC East Standings. We'll start there because this really goes to show you how closely contested this division is and why it's so paramount for both teams to win this game. If the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win, there's a one-game differential with still one game left to play between the Eagles and the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. And for the Giants, they tied Washington. So over the next two games for New York, they either have to beat Philadelphia and Washington, or if they lose to Philadelphia, they have to beat Washington because they tied. That would mean that the Commanders get that tiebreaker, and then things start to get very interesting as far as who might get that last spot in the playoffs, because the look at the NFC Playoff Picture is as such. You look at how close things are between New York and Washington. Whichever team wins that game next week, they could lock down a playoff spot. So if New York beats Philadelphia this week, it greatly improves their playoff chances. And if the Eagles win, it improves their chances of maintaining that lead and winning the NFC East, but also maintaining the grasp of that number one seed in the NFC. As of right now, it's Eagles, Vikings, Niners, Bucks, Cowboys, Giants, Seahawks. Those are the teams who would officially be into the playoffs if the season ended today. Before we get to the nitty and gritty of this matchup from both sidelines, who you got in this game? You riding with the Birds? I am. If that's the case, PHI, New York Giants, then type NYG. Eagles injury report. Sean Bradley didn't practice much of this week because of a hamstring injury. Quez Watkins on Thursday, really good sign for him. He was seen on the practice field at the NovaCare complex taking punts. He's been battling that shoulder injury that he suffered in the fourth quarter against Tennessee. Kaiser White left early, which is why Nakobe Dean played a lot last week with an ankle injury. And Avonte Maddox has had his 21-day practice window open. There is a chance that at that slot nickel cornerback spot, he could play after he went on IR with a hamstring ailment. Let's take a look at some trends here thanks to sharp football analysis between the Eagles and the Giants. And this is why the Eagles can win this football game, because the trends certainly favor Philadelphia. Nearly 80% of the Eagles' scoring plays this year have resulted in touchdowns. That's by far and away number one in the NFL. On the other hand, the Giants' defense ranks 21st in that same category. The Eagles' offense averaging a league-best 6.6 yards per play in the first half of games this year. So if they get a stranglehold of this game from the get-go, going to be difficult to come back against Philadelphia. And this offense has an opportunity to really have a big day for the Birds. This is how the Giants rank defensively among all 32 teams in the NFL. Points per game, they're averaging and giving up 21 points per game. 27th in the NFL. Sacks, they don't generate a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They rank 20th. 30th in interceptions. So they haven't been able to generate a lot of turnovers like Philadelphia. Pass completions, though. The Giants are good against the pass. So the Eagles, with the Giants' rushing defense being ranked 26th, have an opportunity to dive into one of their strengths, run the football a lot, and then they can test that secondary to see how Jalen Hurts can go up against Don Wink Martindale's defense. And Wink Martindale does a really good job against young quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks in the NFL because he used to be the defensive coordinator for Baltimore, so he had to prepare and practice against Lamar Jackson every week. Here are my biggest things to watch for in this football game. For the Giants offense, it starts and it ends with Saquon Barkely. Daniel Jones has had a nice year because Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year candidate, has been able to bring the best out of Daniel Jones. He's a really good runner. But if you stop the Giants' run game and force them to throw, and you stop Saquon Barkely, that is a method for success for this Philadelphia Eagles team to come through with a victory. As for what the Giants might do with their philosophy going into this game, they know that they're the inferior team. The Eagles are just far superior from a talent perspective. So what are they going to try to do? Probably what Washington did a couple of weeks ago, handing the Eagles their first loss of the year. They're going to try to dominate the time of possession, run the football, convert on third downs, milk the clock, make it ugly, muddy it up, and force some turnovers. Because that, I believe, is the only way the Giants can win this game, and it's been done before. That's a steady formula in this league. For the offense for Philadelphia, it's been back the last couple of weeks. Good showing against Green Bay. An even better showing against the feisty Titans defense. I want to see, in the guts of the 2022 season, with the playoffs around the corner, for this offense to maintain that and be less spotty like they were when they ran into those struggles. Played toward the Giants' weakness. That means that you have to run the football. The Giants are not a good defense against the rush. The Eagles' offensive line, one of the best in the NFL. Run the football if it's working, and if you can't chuck it, keep on running it. And for Jalen Hurts, keep balling, number one. You've been playing MVP caliber football. In my eyes, you're the front runner to win the NFL's MVP award this year because of the overall impact he's had on this team through the air, on the ground. In the last couple of weeks, he's really had to elevate his play, and I want to see continued strides from Jalen Hurts in all facets. This is a different Giants team this year in 2022 as compared to previous years when this franchise was consistently in the cellar and a consistent joke. Brian Daboll has this team playing differently. They are much more disciplined. They are much more complementary. It's very much a similar roster to what the fraud Joe Judge had last year. Yet they're in a position to make the playoffs because of how well they have played and how well coached they are. They've won a lot of one-score games. They played in a lot of one-score games. And for them to come out on the winning side of that goes to show you that everything is in order thanks to the culture that Brian Daboll has been able to establish. Very far from the case that was Joe Judge. So before we continue to move forward in our preview, let me put you to the test here in the comment section. The most hated team inside the NFC East is what? Because it really does depend on generation. Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. Let me know right now down below. Philadelphia Eagles now is presented by True Classic tees like the one that I'm wearing right now. I love True Classic because you can look good this holiday season and chant E-A-G-L-E-S while you're rocking some True Classic gear. And the best part about all of this is 25% off this holiday season if you want to look good and fresh by using the code chat at trueclassictees.com/chat. True Classic tees, they taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and the shoulders, so you can throw on that True Classic tee with confidence knowing that you've got your bases covered. True Classic is more than just a t-shirt company, though. They have all of the menswear staples you could need. They've got polos like I'm wearing, workout shirts like I've worn before, with the same flattering fit, to boxer briefs designed to keep your boys feeling nice and comfortable below the waistline. They make it super easy to build out your wardrobe, and you'll get top-notch quality for great value, which is important when money is tight. They have this pack builder on their website as well, which I like to use, where you can custom bundle all of their essential products and save even more than the discount that we're offering you today. And for any of the big boys out there, they have long body options for the tall guys up to triple XL on a lot of their staple colors. So get your t-shirts, get your polos, get your shorts, which I love too with that athletic wear, and pants, 25% off trueclassictees.com/chat. So I want to start taking some of your questions and your super chats because I know a lot of you have a lot to say about this football game and this team in general. This one coming in from Emmanuel Henderson. Thank you so much for your $10 donation. Should the Eagles start giving contract extensions to several players whose contracts expire before next year's free agency to prevent overpaying players? And Emmanuel, you make a fabulous point. And this is part of the philosophy for Howie Roseman. He does a great job of looking ahead. Now, obviously, the most notable, what are they going to do with Jalen Hurts if, for instance, they make a deep run in the playoffs and they want to lock down their quarterback for the future beyond just next year and not have to risk overpaying him way too much like the Cowboys had to do with Dak Prescott because they waited. So it's always good to get that early value on top of what I said, because the salary cap is only going to continue to increase, which means the contracts are going to get bigger, and that's why Howie Roseman is such a genius. Izzy B, I want GK Vlog. I want an apology when the Eagles win. So if you're watching our live show here, GK Vlog is a Giants fan. He's been throwing haymakers at our Eagles fans, and I can't wait to see the back and forth during our watch party on Sunday because, man, it's going to be intense and it's going to be wild. Julio, what team are you most afraid of in the playoffs? I would say the San Francisco 49ers, even without Jimmy Garoppolo. That defense, number one in every major defensive statistical category out there. And they just have premier players at all three levels on their defense. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, their linebacking core is fantastic and very good against the pass. That team plays the run really good because they're number one in rushing yards allowed, even better against the pass, in my opinion, by the eye test. And then offensively, yes, Brock Purdy is going to be their starting quarterback, but Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, that team is legit. I'd like to say the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see how the Eagles fare on Christmas Eve against Dallas, but at the same time, once it comes playoff time, are we expecting a Mike McCarthy Dallas Cowboys team to win a clutch game and come through in a big moment? How about them Cowboys? Cool Rains tuned in from Melbourne, Australia. Do you think A.J. Brown and Miles Sanders will get over 1,000 yards after the Giants game? A.J. Brown is close. He's less than 100 yards away. And let me look at Miles Sanders' stats because I know that he's kind of closing in on the 1,000-yard mark as well. He is at 924. I think both of them are able to pick up 80-plus yards and both surpass 1,000 yards. Cool Rains. Good stuff right there, keeping us on notice. Ernesto, who do you think should have a big game against the Giants on Sunday? How about Miles Sanders? Because of the Giants' struggles against the ground game, as we talked about earlier in our preview. And still, even though the Giants are good against the pass, Jalen Hurts, continue the development, continue those steps forward made as a player. And then defensively, can we get another revenge game? Last week, A.J. Brown against Tennessee. This week, how about James Bradbury going up against the New York Giants? Kurt Johnson. How unusual is the year-over progress that Hurts has had this year over last year? I've never seen anything like it. This will be the last question in our mailbag before our Eagles Now Happy Hour on our live show. The only similar jump, Kurt, is one that we've discussed here on the show a little bit. Jalen Hurts in year one, he completed less than 60% of his passes. This year, he's closing in on 70%. Year over year, a jump very similar that's taken place recently has been Josh Allen. So Josh Allen came into the league in 2018. He completed 53% of his passes. Year two, he was at 59. Year three, it went all the way up to 70%, 69.2. Very nice. So from 52 year one to 70 almost in year three. Hurts' trajectory as a passer has been very, very similar to that. So those are really the two modern examples of such massive progress being taken at that quarterback spot. Fantastic question right there, Kurt. Glad we could give you some insight there. With this game on Sunday, embrace debate, get heated in the comment section, throw some jabs in the comment section toward those Giants fans. PHI for the Eagles, NYG for the New York Giants. Throw a punch like Philly great Bernard Hopkins toward those Giants fans in the comment section and let us know.